Okay, so far this chapter, we have been talking about locating zeros and factoring to find zeros and plugging in a number to see if it's a zero and drawing pictures of where zero's at. So there's lots of things that have been happening. We're still talking about 4.1. And, factoring, like we were doing the last 2 days, is just one way to find zeros. We went through a couple different ways to factor. So what I want you to think about now is, what has it all been leading up to? And at this point, like, let's look at this picture. And I said, like, can I factor? So you're looking at this and you're thinking, I need factors of 15 that add to -4. And if I was making a list of factors, let's say 1 times 15 and 3 times 5, and then I kind of run out, and none of those make 4. And if I look at this picture, I can see that it never touches this x-axis, okay? So something we've been talking about is how many real zeros. This has 2 imaginary zeros. And I know that because looking at the picture, I can see that it never crosses. I know it's degree 2, and it never actually crosses that red line x-axis, so I know that they are imaginary zeros. But there is a way to the way to find the imaginary zeros is to use the quadratic formula. So what I think you should do is you should Google, not even Google, you should go on YouTube and find the quadratic formula song. And then you're going to get it stuck in your head, and then you'll never forget this. But it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So again, find the song, memorize it, and get it stuck in your head. So going back to that one from the picture, we're gonna do this, the same one, and we're gonna use the quadratic formula because I can't factor. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to use a highlighter. So the first thing that you need to do is be aware of which one is A, which one is B, which one is C. So A is the leading coefficient. Okay, so that's here. I swear this was my highlighter. There we go. So leading coefficient is right here. That's A. This is B with the negative. And then this is C. So if I was writing these out, of course, technical difficulties here. A is 1, B is -4, and C is 15. So, and if you need to write it down, you should flip back. It's negative B, so -4, positive 4, plus or minus. And that's because it's a quadratic, meaning we're going to get 2 zeros. So one of them will be like the plus, and one of them will be the minus side. So we get 2. Square root of b squared, make sure you put the negative in parentheses, minus 4 times 1 times 5 all over 2 times 1. Okay, I'm going to start simplifying. You should start doing the same. This would be a good time for you to like pause maybe and see if you get the same answer as me. And I'm just going to keep going. When I get here, this would be a mostly acceptable answer. I'd like you to simplify a few things. The square root of -4 is going to be 2i. So then really, I guess I should say that this is the answer that I would like you to give me. Okay, this bothers me, but that's because I'm a math teacher. I can factor a 2 out of all of these, meaning like this has a 2 in it, this has a 2 in it, and this does. So my most reduced answer would be 2 plus or minus I. Okay. If that doesn't make sense to you, don't do that then. Okay, what I have circled in blue is an appropriate answer. These are your 2 roots, meaning that one of them is 2 plus I, and the other one is 2 minus I. These are the 2 spots. They're imaginary spots, but these are the 2 spots. These are the 2 zeros where it crosses it doesn't cross, where the zeros are. Okay? So one more thing to talk about with this quadratic formula is this word discriminant. And this is another word they use, the nature. And the nature means like Are they real or are they imaginary? So maybe make a note somewhere, and it's hard for me to make a note. The nature of the roots means real or imaginary. And of course, you could have two real, one of each, or two imaginary. The discriminant is this part here. I'm having lots of difficulties here switching between highlighter and pen. This part here is the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac. And you have three choices. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, equals 0. Did I say three choices? I hope I did. Less than 0. These are your three choices. They all tell us something different. If the part under the square root is positive, this means you have two real roots. It's an A. Okay, if it equals 0, you have one real root. And then if it's less than 0, you have two imaginary roots. And I'm going to draw a picture of this for you too. So if it is greater than 0, it's going to be a parabola that hits twice, like this. If it equals 0, it's going to be a parabola that hits once, like this. Sorry, I'm a little bit running out of room. And if it's less than 0, it's going to be that parabola that like hovers above or below and has no real roots like the example we just did. So we're going to find the discriminant on the next example and tell us what it means. Okay, so first I'm going to find the discriminant. Okay, so when I find the discriminant, I need A, B, C. It's b squared, so 1 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 2. So I get 1 minus a negative 12 times 4 is 48. Now look at minus a minus. Okay, so I got 49. What does this tell us? It means that there are two real roots. Okay, so now let's solve. Like this. Solve. So let's say you don't like the AC method, which some of you are struggling with, and that's okay. And you want to solve this. I already know, should already know that I'm going to come up with two real roots. And we already have the main part of the quadratic formula. So we're going to have negative b, a pen here, plus or minus the square root. B squared minus 4ac was 49, right? All over 2 times 6. So when I start simplifying, I get 1 plus or minus 7 over 12. Okay? This is not an answer. No, see my frowny face? This is not an answer. You need to break it up. You need to give me both answers when they're nice numbers like this. Negative 1 plus 7 over 2, negative 1 minus 7 over 2. So this is 6 over 2 equals 3, and negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. These are my two zeros, and look at, they're both numbers that I know, so I know that they are real numbers. That's it for discriminant and quadratic formula.